I'm Amy Cherry.
The President of the United States takes pride in presenting the Navy Cross posthumously to Private First Class Jonathan Nathaniel Spicer, United States Marine Corps.
Private Spicer, a resident of Flagler County and a Bunnell High School student, was awarded the Navy Cross at the Flagler County Memorial Day ceremony for his courage under fire during the Vietnam War. Spicer assisted boarding casualties to transport helicopters for evacuation. His childhood best friend Randy Morris says he did so without regard for his own safety and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy.
He continued to expedite the loading of the wounded aboard the aircraft despite the increased intensity of the attack, as he shielded a Marine from the blast with his own body. Unable to walk, he warned his comrades to remain in their protective positions while he attempted to crawl from the hazardous area to safety by himself. His selfless actions undoubtedly prevented serious injury or possible death to his fellow Marines.
Keynote speaker, U.S. Navy veteran Dr. Tracy Hemanowski of Jacksonville Naval Hospital says the Flagler County Memorial Day ceremony is about celebrating the heroes of the past, like Spicer, by staying connected to the heroes of the present.
Let us reflect on our freedoms and why we have them. Let us live up to their sacrifices. We pray for those who have returned less than whole, discouraged, and isolated. We pray for the families left behind with their emotional wounds.
She says we must remember our veterans not just on Memorial Day, but every day.
This portion of WNZF Local News, a service of the Daytona Beach International Airport. Fly to the Big Apple in a New York minute on JetBlue from the Daytona Beach International Airport.
No charges will be filed against 3 former deputies following an investigation into alleged sexual misconduct at the Flagler County Jail. Ben Smith has more.
Bradley Gilliard resigned Friday from his position as a Flagler County Sheriff's Detention Deputy. The decision came just before he was to be fired after an internal affairs investigation found Gilliard had had sex with an inmate at the Flagler County Jail, then brandished his taser toward 2 other inmates following the encounter. Jonathan Vitale resigned earlier last week, while Julio Vasquez quit in January, just as the investigation was starting. Both Vitale and Vasquez alerted Gilliard to the investigation. Both Gilliard and Vitale had received commendations for their work performance in recent years. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Ben Smith.
A Palm Coast woman who is awaiting trial on murder charges is found dead. Deputies conducting a welfare check say they found 62-year-old Jan Sachalski slumped over her back porch. Police say Sachalski's death isn't suspicious. She was arrested last summer on charges of killing her husband, Henry Sachalski. He was found suffocated in his hospital bed at Florida Hospital Memorial Medical Center in Daytona Beach. Authorities say Sachalski called the medical examiner's office and asked whether her husband was brain dead, saying she hoped she made the right choice. She'd been unhappy with his hospital care, and workers there say she even threatened to get her husband's gun and shoot them. The retired nurse was released on $50,000 bail and was due back in court in July. A Florida man who was in the military and got into criminal trouble is getting the opportunity to heal. Karen Johnson has the story.
A man who dressed like Rambo and carried an Uzi-like weapon and 2 hunting knives is sentenced to 7 years probation. The charges and sentence stem from an incident 3 years ago at the Europa Lounge at European Village in Palm Coast. Noble had been drinking at the bar when he got into an argument with 2 other patrons. Judge Matthew Foxman also ordered Noble to successfully complete any treatment that the Veterans Administration recommends for him. Foxman also allowed the Palm Coast man to transfer his probation to Indianapolis, where he's been undergoing treatment for the past 9 months. Noble's been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Noble's father cried tears of joy. He had written a letter to the judge before the sentencing, asking that his son be allowed to continue his treatment since he has made considerable progress. I'm Karen Johnson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.